Laura, Sarah from Australia asks, what's the best time of the year to visit Fiji to avoid the rainy season?
Okay, the best time of the year to avoid visiting during the rainy season is to basically avoid the months between November and April. So, in other words, visit between May and October. That is the dry season in Fiji. It is drier, it is less humid, humidity is really high.
And it's still going to rain because it's a tropical climate, so you're still going to get wet at times. It's just going to be a bit less intense.
I was going to say humidity is really high during the rainy season,
Yes,
not during the dry season.
exactly. And yeah, more information on Fiji Pocket Guide. We do have full guides on every single month, and we have tables and charts to help you plan your trip into the best weather possible, hopefully. But again, the weather in the tropics is always very unpredictable. So it's on you, Sarah from Australia. Good luck. All right.
Good luck, Sarah.
Next question. Are there any cultural customs I should know before visiting any Fijian village? Asks Liam for New Zealand. Good on you for actually doing your homework, Liam. I like that.
Yes, so there definitely are some customs to be aware of when visiting a Fijian village, particularly dressing modestly. It is important to Fijians because they are quite religious. They are strict Christians, so it is important to not wear things that are too revealing. You know, dress clothes that preferably cover below the knee. Covering the shoulders is usually quite important as well. In some villages more than others, but
so no skimpy bikini for Liam.
No skimpy bikini for Liam. And yeah, so a way that females usually, which is the usual way of covering the legs, is to wear a sarong or sulu. So just having that to quickly wrap around yourself is pretty much the done thing by both locals and visitors. Another thing to bear in mind is to not wear anything on your head. So not wearing a hat on your head, not putting your sunglasses up on your head. That is seen as disrespectful, particularly to the village chief. But in general, just don't wear anything on your head. And then finally, bring some sevu sevu. Sevu sevu is a gift, and usually the done thing is to bring some kava.
That's the thing to do. The
Yeah,
done thing.
The done thing. So you can buy kava in its root form or packet form. Usually root form is the best, where you can buy it from the local market.
Which is an experience, so I recommend that for you, Liam. We do also have some more information about the etiquette in Fiji on Fiji Pocket Guide, so you may want to check that out, Liam. All right. Any of your questions about traveling in the South Pacific, feel free to put it in the comments. Otherwise, we do have plenty prepared right here, so we'll continue going through them. All right. Emily from the USA asks, how can I experience local Fijian food on my trip? Well, Emily, you're in for a treat.
Yes. So for experiencing Fijian food, you can experience it at local restaurants. You can experience it at markets. Sometimes they do like home cooked food and stuff like that at the local markets. You can experience them on cultural tours. So if you're doing cultural experiences, often you can do that with food involved. And just to give you an idea of some typical dishes that you can experience, there is kokonda is a really popular dish. You'll find that on the entree menu of any restaurant pretty much.
It's like you'll find it everywhere because it's basically the perfect entree. It's a Fijian ceviche, for example.
Yes, nice and fresh. Next up, a typical one is a lovo. Lovo is food that is slow cooked in an underground oven. It's very delicious. You can mostly experience these on cultural tours, usually evening tours. Some resorts will do lovo nights, for example. So that's another opportunity to try traditional Fijian food. And then another one to look out for is ruru, which is ruru, which is taro, also kind of known as the local sort of spinach of Fiji.
Indeed. If you want more information about what are the local foods in Fiji, where to find them, and what they taste like, etc., we do have plenty of information on Fiji Pocket Guide. But you are in luck, Emily. Seriously, finding local food in Fiji is very easy. There's a lot of destinations around the world where you travel, and actually finding the traditional dishes and everything like that is actually kind of a chore. In Fiji, you can find them very easily pretty much everywhere, which is fantastic because it tastes so fresh and delicious.
Yes.
Next up on our list. Cool. You ready for a question from Tom from the UK?
Tom from the UK, yes, I'm ready.
Tom from the UK asks, is it easy to get around the islands of Fiji?
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Some islands are better connected than others. The easiest islands to get around would be the Mamanuca Islands and the Yasawa Islands, which are the island chain that is closest to Nandi, which is where the international airport is located. So getting around these islands, you can go via fast catamaran. Fast catamaran ferries. You can go via water taxis. There are even helicopter transfers, seaplane transfers. So there's a lot of options to get between those islands. So that's the easiest ones. However, getting to some other of the outer islands, usually it's better to take one of the domestic flights, such as
Fiji Link
or Northern Air. And so getting to those islands is usually takes a bit longer, so that's why a plane is usually a bit better. Otherwise, you can take cargo ships or cargo passenger ferries. They're very slow, usually about 12 hours to get to some of those outer islands that are a bit further away. So yeah.
All right, quick information about Fiji Link. Quick pro tip right here. If you are planning on spending time outside of Viti Levu, which is the main island, and you are going to take a Fiji Link flight, here's the tip. Book it at the same time as your Fiji Airway flight, your international flight. If you book it at the same time, then you will have the same luggage allowance between, let's say, you're from the UK, between the UK to Fiji, and then in between Fiji's main island, Viti Levu, and to, let's say, Taveuni or another one of the island you're going to. However, if you book it on its own as a standalone, the luggage allowance is significantly lower and you may not be able to carry all your bags. So be aware of that and book it as a package altogether on the Fiji Airway website. We don't work for them, by the way. It's just a really good tip.
It is a really good tip.
Exactly. You want more really good tips? FijiPocketGuide.com. Check it out, Tom. It's all free for you.
All right, next on the list.
Next on the list, we have a question about Fiji from Hannah from Japan. Do I need to worry about jellyfish or other sea creatures when swimming in Fiji? Jellyfish, are we seeing jellyfish in Fiji? We swim a lot.
Only the little tiny ones
yeah, that's true, yeah.
that the manta rays are gobbling up. So they're really tiny. The good thing about swimming in Fiji is that when you're doing, say, scuba diving tours, having a full wetsuit is a good way to protect yourself from those very, very tiny jellyfish that otherwise will just kind of feel like little prickles on your skin.
Yeah, but we swam in there without them and we were fine. Yeah.
Yes, I got them all over my body and it didn't really mind because the manta rays are so cool. I don't really care about getting little stings. Anyway, but in terms of like the big scary jellyfish, they are somewhat like not too common that you'll come across them, but obviously they do exist. If you see them, just don't touch them. And yeah, if there are any sort of big marine creature warnings that you need to be aware of, then usually at your resorts or beaches there will be some warnings there. I mean, there are a few. Basically, when it comes to marine wildlife, just don't prod them, don't touch them.
Yeah.
And they will probably ignore you. It's fine.
Indeed, we swam with shark, we swam with a lot of different sea creatures in Fiji, and as long as you don't touch the coral, you don't touch the animal, usually you're perfectly fine. So here you go. Should you worry? No. Quick thing about those jellyfish thing that we were talking about. Some people are gonna be like, oh my god. Literally, it doesn't even hurt as much as doing that, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like really small prickle, pretty much nothing. Don't worry about it. You will be okay. Unless you're allergic. Are you allergic? Hopefully not.
Unless you've got allergies, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Look that up.
All right, more information about the Fiji wildlife on FijiPocketGuide.com if you want to check it out, Hannah. Okay, is anyone there on the live chat? Honestly, it's pretty dead right here. In the meantime, we're going to continue with our questions. And we're going to talk about the Cook Islands now. Because why not? Why not taking you all around the Pacific? Why not taking you to travel with us? And let's go. Cook Islands. Oh, I have a question from Laura from New Zealand.
Oh my god, did I write this? I'm the only Laura in New Zealand.
You're the only Laura in New Zealand. What's going on? This is weird. Okay. What is the best island to stay on for the first time visitor to the Cook Island? Asks Laura from New Zealand. So Laura from New Zealand, answer the question.
Rarotonga is a really good starting point for first-time visitors to the Cook Islands. It is the main island, the main tourist hub of the Cook Islands, so it's really easy to visit. They are very well equipped with tons of accommodation, amazing dining options, lots of different activities. So going there, being there for the first time, it's also a very small island. You can get around very easily. Everything is close by. So
it's well appointed for tourism. It's very touristic. You're not going to be bored in a whole weekend or more in the Rarotonga.
yeah, so that's the easy option for first time visitors. However, if you're looking for a quieter, more sort of, I don't know, like peaceful side.
If you're on a couple's retreat, Laura, from New Zealand.
Basically, if you're a couple, maybe on honeymoon, that sort of thing, then Aitutaki is definitely the better option for that. It is a beautiful lagoon and very peaceful. Has some resorts and stuff there as well. So it's just a more of a peaceful version of Rarotonga.
Hey, you go cookislandspocketguide.com. It's your free travel guide to the Cook Islands. So check it out and you'll find the plethora of things to do in the Cook Islands and you'll be impressed. So yeah, no matter where you go, you'll have a great time in Raro.
Or the Cook Islands.
Oh, the Cook Islands. Oh, Aitutaki. Oh, any of the other islands, by the way.
Mangaya. Atu. Moke. Palmerston. Let's keep going.
Okay, James from the USA asks, Laura, can I get a visa? No. Do I need a visa? You see, I thought I would remember it rather than reading it. Shouldn't do that. That's bad. That's bad, Robin. Hey, James from the USA asks, do I need a visa to visit the Cook Islands?
You do not need a visa to visit the Cook Islands. The Cook Islands is one of the easiest countries to visit.
Yeah.
It is open to visitors from pretty much everywhere. It's great. So you don't need a visa for visiting for up to 31 days.
Yep.
That's your limit. And yeah, just ensure that your passport is valid for 6 months after your intended day of departure. So yeah, just make sure your passport's up to date and you're good to go.
Indeed. Next up on the list, can I use New Zealand dollars in the Cook Islands? Asks Mia from Australia. She probably have some money left over from the trip and she's like, can I get rid of it in the Cooks?
Well, you are in luck because the Cook Islands does use New Zealand dollars as its official currency. So take those New Zealand dollars to the Cook Islands and it'll be totally fine, totally easy. However, the Cook Islands does have some of its own banknotes and coins. So it does have some of its own currency.
So that's right. My favorite banknote ever is the $3 banknote from the Cook Islands. It's actually quite hard to get in the Cooks. Ask retailer when you pay, etc. But yeah, it has a bare-chested lady riding a shark. You can't do any better than that when it comes down to dollar bills. That is so good. So that's that. It also has, in the Cook Islands, they also have their own set of coins. Keeping in mind that those coins, the $3 bills and those coins cannot be used in New Zealand. So you can use New Zealand dollars in the Cook Islands, but you cannot use Cook Islands dollars in New Zealand, if that makes sense.
And another thing to bear in mind is also you can't exchange that Cook Islands currency once you leave the Cook Islands. So any coins or currency that you get that are just the Cook Island coins and stuff in the Cook Islands, make sure you spend it before you leave or keep it as a souvenir.
Oh, it's a souvenir indeed. So I personally have kept both editions of that $3 bill that we have. So we have it in the office. It's just such a fun dollar bill. So here you go. That is how you can pay in the Cook Islands. And by the way, cash is king in the Cook Islands. So good on you for planning ahead. Next up on the list, we have, are there any must-do activities in the Cook Islands? Ask Karen from Australia.
Yes. There's lots of must-do activities. Definitely exploring the lagoon if you're not visiting Aitutaki. Doing the Aitutaki Lagoon is probably the best lagoon cruise that you can do, but otherwise there are lagoon cruises in Rarotonga as well, should you not be able to get over there. Also if you're into hiking, Rarotonga is really great for hiking. It is very mountainous in its interior, so doing the Cross Island Trail is really good for adventure travelers.
And it's so different than any other places where you can kind of do hiking, like in the tropics and everything. So because you get a lot of altitudes, there's a lot of like other places where you can hike usually, and it's usually kind of low
Low-lying.
low lying, right? But like getting some altitude over there, it's stunning. You get absolutely
Yes.
phenomenal views, especially at sunset and sunrise.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then finally, doing some sort of cultural activity is definitely recommended as well. For instance, there's Highlands, which does a cultural show, and along with a nice sort of buffet dinner as well. They call them island nights in the Cook Islands, where it's like that dance and show and food show all combined into one. So yeah, check out one of those. Highlands is definitely recommended as one of the ones that are way up there because they take you into a beautiful setting. In order to do that, some cultural sort of explanation and workshops before the whole sort of show gets started.
Yeah. Experience the food. They have absolutely stellar world-class restaurants in the Cook Islands. We absolutely loved
Yeah.
all the foods there. And also snorkel to your heart's content. I cannot stress enough how much the snorkeling is amazing. So beyond just that one lagoon cruise you may take and you do a bit of snorkeling, do a lot of snorkeling on your own. It's totally worth it. It's fabulous. In fact, it is worth investing in your own snorkeling gears if you can.
Yeah.
So yeah. Here you go. That's for you, Karen. I hope that's helpful. CookIslandsPocketGuide.com. We have a list of 101 things to do in the Cook Islands. So you can explore the wide variety of things to do there so you can make that holiday truly your own. Cool. Daniel from the UK cannot disconnect. He has to work and he asks, is there any good internet and Wi-Fi in the Cook Islands?
Well, so it's on and off. So some accommodations will have access to Wi-Fi. They may provide Wi-Fi, but not all the time is it free. A lot of the time you do have to pay for it, and that's the biggest thing you need to basically take away from this question is that it is expensive to have access to Wi-Fi and internet in the Cook Islands.
Yeah.
There's only one phone network provider in the Cook Islands, so if you do go with buying a local SIM card, which is usually a good idea if you want more, consistency and being able to access the internet, then know that there's no competition. So also those prices in terms of like data prices, they're quite high as well. So yeah, they're all things to bear in mind. You can get access to internet, but you will have to pay for it.
That said, with the advent of Starlink, more and more accommodation have Starlink, and we have started on Cook Island Pocket Guide on our pages about Wi-Fi to actually list all the accommodations that have Starlink, and a lot of them will provide very good, decent access to internet, provided that the weather is, working. Because obviously, if the weather is terrible, Starlink is terrible. But yeah, so provided the weather is good, you should have decent access there. Again, they're not all free. Some of them provided for free, but you can see with the provider themselves. So here you go, cookislandspocketguide.com for more information for you, Daniel. But another way to deal with the internet in the Cook Islands is to kind of disconnect a little bit. You're on holiday after all.
Yeah.
So yeah, just putting it out there.
Leave that phone behind.
Indeed.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
Leaving your phone behind?
I can. All right. Welcome everybody. There's 5 people watching now. Happy days. If you have any questions about traveling in the South Pacific or in New Zealand, go nuts. The live chat is all yours. We're here to answer all your questions. In the meantime, we continue with pre-sent question. We have plenty that people send us ahead of time. Cool. And yeah, we're talking about the South Pacific today. That's the theme, but we can answer questions about New Zealand or anything. No stress, no worries. Everybody left. Conquer on you is 0. As soon as I acknowledge people, they all leave.
No.
Every time,
no,
every week.
Sir.
Every week I say I acknowledge people. It's kind of like everybody leaves. Fun time.
Adil's here saying Kia ora, Robin, Laura, and all the viewers.
Hey, how are you doing, Adil? Nice. Okay, let's get back on track. You ready?
I'm back
Samoa?
on track, yeah.
Okay. So Josh from New Zealand asks, is Samoa suitable for a family holiday and what activities are there for kids?
Samoa is absolutely suitable for a family holiday. It's a really good alternative. Say you've already done the usual Fiji, Bali, all that sort of thing that everybody goes to from this side of the world to do their family holidays. Samoa offers something a bit more different, a bit more unique, quieter. So, and also really good for adventure. So if you really want to do some, say, snorkeling, visit some magnificent waterfalls, maybe do some swimming in famous places like the Tosua Ocean Trench. They're really, really good opportunities to do that. Also, really hands-on experiences about learning about the Samoan culture. So,
And
yeah,
even like even easier places to access. Like there's so many waterfalls, little swimming holes where you can just walk into the water. So if your kids are a
sliding
bit
rocks.
exactly, so if your kids are a bit younger, you can sort that out pretty easily. A lot of the walks are also super accessible and very easy. Like some of the walks are literally just on the beach.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like volcanic rocks and everything where you can scramble around and see a lot of different things to actually give real life example. You know, if your kids are learning about geology or volcanoes and everything, you know, there's always a phase. I don't know, as a boy, I was into volcano at some point, you know.
Isn't everybody?
Yeah, there's a phase, right?
Who
These
does not
dinosaurs.
love volcanoes?
These dinosaurs, volcanoes, all that. So yeah. So there is a lot of really awesome, super easy to access places. Plus,
Yes.
someone's love kids.
Yes, that's very true. So, it's a very good for like immersing in nature and cultural and educational experiences. Bearing in mind though, a lot of these natural attractions, there's usually no like sort of safety barriers in place or anything like that. So you will have to keep a close eye on kids when you are traveling to Samoa. It's all on you. There's very much like kids clubs, babysitters, not really a huge thing in Samoa. So it is really about a family holiday altogether. That means you are also in charge of your child's safety if you are like going around on big, huge rung ladders into the Tosua Ocean Trench.
Indeed. All right, Josh, if you're planning a family holiday in Samoa, check out samoapocketguide.com, click on trip IDs, and we've pre-made itineraries specifically tailored for families, so you can just copy them. They're done for you. Just take the advice from the expert. It's easy peasy. Anyway, check out the website and enjoy your time in Samoa. We have Chris saying, Kia ora, Laura and Robin. How are you doing, Chris? And we have Adil that says he's doing well. And how are we doing together today? Oh, we're doing well.
We're doing good. Yeah,
we're doing pretty well. I get to wear a bula shirt. I'm happy.
Yeah, and it's starting to warm up in New Zealand. So, you know, it's nice to just be nice and warm for once.
Laura's always cold.
I'm always cold.
Cool. But yeah, if you two have any questions about New Zealand or the South Pacific, go bonkers. We're here to answer all your questions. Speaking of questions, can I hike in Samoa and what are some good trails? Ask Kate from Australia.
Yeah, there are plenty of hiking trails in Samoa. Probably the most like easiest popular one to do would be the Mount Vaiea Trail, which is located right next to the famous Robert Louis Stevenson Museum. But yeah, there's a very well-marked trail taking you up a mountain very close to the city, the capital of Apia. So yeah.
It's steep, but it's great.
Steep, but lush, beautiful jungle.
You're in the shade almost all the way until you arrive in the top, yeah.
So yeah, that's a really good option, and that's on the main island of Upolu. And then another really good one on Upolu as well is the Coastal Walk. It's just
my favorite.
Yeah, this is located on the southern coast in the national park there, and yeah, you just basically are walking on top of the edge of this huge lava flow, and yeah, there's some beautiful sort of archway islands views that you can see out into the ocean. You're walking through beautiful forest as well, so that's a really good option too. So there's 2 recommendations, but on SamoaPocketGuide.com we have a whole list of hikes that you can do on both Upolu and the island of Savaii.
And big shout out to the Samoa Conservation Society, which is maintaining a few trails where you can do some bird watching as well. So if you want to contact them, they do have an awesome little paper guide that you can buy from them. And yeah, that help them support all their conservation efforts. So check out Samoa Conservation Society when you are there. You can even get maps of Samoa, those kind of things. So yeah, check those guys out for great recommendation. And check out SamoaPocketGuide.com for our favorites.
Hikes
In Samoa.
We made it together. Bombing the sentence.
All right. Michael from the USA asks, is it easy to travel between Upolu and Savaii Island in Samoa?
It is easy. There is only one way to do it, and
it's very easy.
It's very easy. Yeah, and that's to take the local ferry that goes back and forth between the islands. It takes around an hour to an hour and a half for the ferry crossing. There are several departures per day. It's usually like 4 departures on weekdays and then maybe a couple going into the weekend. But yeah, so it's really easy to you can organize it once you arrive in Samoa. You can organize it through car rental companies. You can take your car back and forth, that sort of thing, or you can go on as a passenger. It's very cheap as well. So yeah, that's the way to do it. Hop on the ferry. You go from very close to the airport on the western side of Upolu.
And yeah, do remember that it will take you longer to kind of wait to board the ferry than the ferry itself. So just still plan a little bit of time and arrive early because it's first in, first serve if you haven't booked. Okay, next up we have Sarah from the UK, yet another one.
Another one from the UK.
She's one of a million. Okay. What should I pack for a trip to Samoa in terms of clothing? Asks Sarah from the UK.
Okay, so it's important to note that Samoa has really warm and humid weather all year round.
Hot.
It is one of the hotter South Pacific islands that is out there. So yeah, the temperature barely deviates throughout the year. So light breathable clothing is really important. Also important is Samoa is quite a religious country as well. It's quite it's a Christian country, so being quite modest is also quite important to them. So when you're going out in public, best not to wear super revealing clothes. You can keep like your swimwear and stuff at the beach is fine, or going to any of the swimming holes is fine to have your swimwear. But yeah, when it comes to going out in public, best to just have things that aren't way too revealing, just things that are respectful and mostly covering like up to about your knees is usually the way to go.
Yeah. And if you're on the full packing list, Sarah, we do have a full packing list on SamoaPocketGuide.com. If you want to check out the weather, we also have full weather breakdowns for you in Samoa. So that's going to on Samoa Pocket Guide. So make sure to check the website out and have a fun time in Samoa, Sarah. You ready?
Take a quick drink, maybe.
Ooh, we have a question from Ben from Australia.
Okay.
Is Samoa affected by cyclones, and when is the best time to visit to avoid them? Asks Ben from Australia.
Okay, so yes, there is a cyclone season that may or may not affect Samoa. So the South Pacific cyclone season is between November to April each year. So basically, if you want to avoid cyclones as much as possible, it's best to avoid visiting during those months between November and April. That said, there has historically been the odd cyclone that has occurred outside of those months, but they're the months that sort of is the most frequently going to happen. Going in the dry season, if you really want to get the best months to go with the least
likelihood of
cyclones, then going sort of June, July, and August would be your best bet.
Here you go. More information about the weather and how to plan for a trip to Samoa on Samoa Pocket Guide for you, Ben.
Ben.
All
right. Cool.
Okay. Hello to all 5 of you guys. Welcome on board, guys and gals. All right. We are talking about traveling in the South Pacific. We're answering readers' questions. If you have any questions of your own, do ask. And if you even have questions about New Zealand, you can ask as well. We are all yours. All right, let's talk a little bit about Tonga, Laura.
Yeah, we cannot forget about Tonga.
Let's not forget about Tonga. Have you forgotten about Tonga?
No.
No, me neither. All right. Jake from New Zealand asks, can I swim with whales in Tonga, and what's the best time to go?
Yes, you can go swimming with humpback whales in Tonga. It is like one of the amazing, pretty unique things to do there, amongst lots of other things. But yeah, the best time to go there is very seasonal. The best time to go is between July and October. Preferably in the middle of those months is going to be the best time to actually get your best viewings. But the season does go from July to October.
Indeed, there is plenty of operators, and they are some more reliable than others. So you may want to check out TongaPocketGuide.com, where we list the ones that are the most reliable, so you can choose the best of the best. Have fun. Okay. Next up, we have Chloe from Australia, which is worried about local customs. I love that. I love how people get prepared for that.
Yes.
That's really good. So Chloe asks, What are some key cultural customs to respect in Tonga? I'm going to stay in a village.
All right. So again, Tonga is a very conservative country. They are very religious. And they do respect like the Sunday rules. Like the Sunday is the day of rest. In like Christianity, so that's also applies in Tonga. So you find that a lot of businesses are closed on Sundays, and generally those days you also want to be a bit quieter.
Yep.
And yeah, so bear that in mind. In terms of clothing, it's best to wear modest clothing when you're going out and about. No super short shorts. Usually vest tops is okay, but if you're going on, say, to Sunday church, cover the shoulders. But yeah, anything that sort of covers like below the knee or up to the knee is a good way to go in Tonga.
And Tonga is a country of, it has a really strong gift giving culture. So be prepared to receive gift and give gift as well. Like a lot of gift back and forth going on in Tonga. So just be prepared for that, just in case it's not something you're used to back home. Okay, next up, we have Carlos from the USA.
The USSR.
USA, but I misspoke. Okay, let's try again. Is Tonga a good destination? Is Tonga a good destination for snorkeling or diving? Asked Carlos from the USA.
It is a great destination for snorkeling and diving. You can basically do snorkeling and diving in most of the island groups there.
Yep.
You can go from Tongatapu. There's different snorkeling and diving operators, especially in Vavau is probably where you'll find the most sort of underwater features that are more like caves.
In fact, there's like 3 new dive operators in Vavau, so here you go.
Different like pinnacles, that sort of thing. So there's really a lot of different interesting features there. In Hapai, you can scuba dive to sort of geothermal vents and that sort of thing as well. So there's really a lot of interesting snorkeling and scuba diving to see there, and beautiful coral, beautiful fish. I mean, it's a South Pacific paradise, so need we say more?
Indeed. We do list a lot of the diving spots, the diving operators, as well as some of the best places for snorkeling on tongapocketguide.com, so you may want to check that out, Josh. Welcome to the 3 new viewers that just tuned in. We're glad to have you on board. We're answering questions about traveling in the Pacific and in New Zealand, so feel free to ask your own question. And here you go, we're back down to 2 viewers. What is going on every time I address people? Okay, I'm going to completely ignore you guys. Here you go. Honestly. Questions from Josh from Australia. No, John. Oh, well, here you go. Maybe I should stop butchering names of people. John from Australia asks, do I need to bring cash to Tonga, or are credit card widely accepted?
Widely accepted is a strong word. Definitely have some cash with you at all times when you're traveling in Tonga. Cash is king. The local currency is Tongan paanga. So yeah, bringing some with you, getting that exchanged either before or after. Either way is good. And yeah, I mean, you can always have your credit card as a backup. There are some places that will accept credit card, but for the vast majority of cases, it is best to pay with cash, and also save a bit of money on those bank fees as well when you're paying everything with credit card, especially overseas. Those fees, currency conversion, and even the fees charged by vendors, quite expensive, usually between 3 to 5%. So yeah, for that reason alone, I would say definitely pay with cash when you're traveling in Tonga.
Indeed. More information on tongapocketguide.com. We do list like all the ATMs, there's so much information on there. Check it out. And yeah, we'll give you also some tips for where to get your money converted before or while in Tonga. Okay. And I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. XIU. So I'm going to say Xiu. Okay, Xiu from China asks, what's the weather like in Tonga and what's the best time of the year to go?
So Tonga is, it's in the South Pacific. It has a tropical climate. So there's only really 2 distinct seasons. There is the dry season, which is the slightly cooler seasons, yet still tropical temperatures. And that is between May and October. And then you have the more hot, humid, sometimes called the rainy season or the wet season. And that's between November and April. So yeah, they're the two different seasons, both warm temperatures on either ends of the spectrum.
It's hot or hotter.
It's hot or hotter. It's either cool, a little bit drier, or really humid, and there may be rain at any time during the year.
Indeed. If you want more information about the weather in Tonga, tongapocketguide.com, we have like yearly weather charts and all those kind of things to try to make it easy for you to pick the best time for your holiday in paradise. That's it.
That's it.
Check out the website. Bye bye. Cool. Next, we have Adil that says, regarding the question of cultural customs that was asked earlier, what about the other South Pacific island that you have website for? Yeah, so the customs are relatively similar across the Pacific. Usually when visiting a village, you want to bring a bit of a gift, and the South Pacific tend to be quite religious anyway. So when it comes down to modest clothing, I think it's kind of worth keeping in mind. When it comes down to like kind of putting your sunglasses over your head or something like that, I think it's only
That's
kind
only
of in
Fiji,
Fiji.
yeah.
Usually kind of people are fine with it, but there is some small difference of significance in between. Kava will be named differently in different countries as well, but it's still a very welcome drink or a welcome gift. Sorry, when you show up in a village. So yeah, and when it comes down to Sunday being the day of rest, I think it does apply to most of the Pacific. Yeah, it's just part of the fiber that makes the Pacific such a different culture than nearby islands such as New Zealand or Australia.
Yeah, I agree.
She agrees. All right, everybody. If you don't have any more questions, we are going to wrap this show up, and we'll be back next week with some more of your questions. If you do want your questions to be answered, make sure to put them on the comments of this video. I pick all questions every time, everywhere. I bundle them into different subjects, and then poof, they do become a video like this one. So yeah, if you want your 5 seconds of fame, I can say your name in front of 4 viewers one day. Wow. I mean, don't get a big head out of that. Interesting about the sunglasses custom. Do you know the reasons? Absolutely not. I think it's just part of like, don't put something on your head. You know what I mean? Like, just take
It's
your
also,
head off, right? So
there's also a lot
your hat
of
off, sorry.
sort of rules about the head in general in Fiji. Like you can't apparently like touching someone's head is disrespectful as well.
How dare you?
And apparently like back in the day that used to be like a way of declaring war. So like those sort of things. So like it stems from like old traditions, which is like passed on, and then now it's like just the head just should be left alone. People, don't put hats on it, don't put sunglasses on it, just leave the head alone.
Also, Laura and I apparently are at war now.
Okay, so we'll have to go get ready for that.
Yeah, let me go sharpen my bows and arrows, and yeah, I'm gonna go all archers on you.
Yeah.
Everybody, see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye.